This is The Resilient Life, where we believe that every human will struggle in this life. Our challenge is to struggle well. I'm Ryan Manion. I lost my brother to war, my mom to cancer, and I'm the daughter of a retired Marine. I'm also a wife, mom, author, and president of one of the nation's leading veteran service organizations. Join me and some incredible guests as we explore the value of struggling well through life's inevitable challenges. All right, we're going to kick it off with another episode of the Resilient Life podcast. I'm bringing a new friend to the podcast who I just got to meet recently because he did an awesome fundraiser for TMF with him and a bunch of his friends. Welcome to the podcast, Philadelphia Eagle. I got my Eagle sweatshirt on. Ian Book.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, so Ian, this is episode 70, and I have a special guest here that I didn't tell you about who got really excited when I told him that I was having a Philadelphia Eagle on the show tonight. And come on in.
Who we got?
This is little Travis. This is my son. He's 9 years old, and he plays quarterback. So he was very excited. So
nice to meet you, Travis. That's awesome.
He's
keep grinding, buddy.
He's saying nice to meet you. He doesn't have the earphones on, so he can't hear you. But Ian's telling you to keep grinding. And so, do you have any questions as we kick off the show? You're a young quarterback, and you've got a Philadelphia Eagle quarterback right here. What do you got for him? I mean, you got the floor. What do you want to ask him? You can kick off with the first question. Here, talking to the mic.
It's a lot of pressure. I love it.
What's your question?
How did you become so good?
Oh, nice. First off, nice to meet you. I would say just limiting distractions, being a good teammate, and then especially at your age, having fun playing sports, as many as you want. And I think everything else really just takes care of itself. And I think at 9 years old, what is that?
He's going into third grade.
Oh man, we got a lot of time. I love it. Just keep playing sports, be a good teammate. Everything will take care of itself. And just work on your work ethic. Everything you do it 100%. And have a fun time doing it, especially at your age.
So he said,
get there.
Keep working hard. Play lots of different sports, and everything you do, give it 100%. That's pretty good advice, right? Yeah. All right. What do you say?
Thank you.
See you later, buddy. Nice to meet you.
All right, bud. All right. Well, I had to do that because
I love it.
Yeah, I was telling him, I said, you got to be quiet. Mom's recording tonight. And he said, who are you recording with? I said, Ian Book. And he knows every Eagles player. And he was like, can I say hi to him? I'm like, absolutely. You can say hi to him. So all right. So let's kick it off. And I love that because again, right now he's just playing flag football. So we have yet to put any pads on him, and he loves flag. And in fact, when he started playing flag football, he used to say like he only wanted to play flag football. Like, he was a little bit hesitant and nervous about actually getting hit. He'd be like, I'm just gonna play flag football. And he's done it for 3 seasons now. And it was after this spring season, because they do a fall and a spring. After the spring season, he said, Mom, I may want to play regular football. And I said, yeah, all right, bud, in a few years. So I'd love to know, because I had on last year the head coach of Navy football right before the Army Navy game. And I was asking him, like, what do you recommend? Like, when do you hear so many conflicting things? And again, where we are now with, I feel like when I was a kid, we didn't have all the information that we have now about.
Definitely didn't.
And so when did you start playing football, like tackle football? And what do you recommend now? Like, if you had a son, what age are you putting pads on him?
So I started in third grade. So I started when I was 8. It was my first year of tackle football. I played flag football for a season before maybe 2 seasons, but before tackle started. I don't know what the perfect age is, but I don't think it's ever, too early or too late. But I do understand everything now with head injuries. It's if you start when you're 8 and then you start when you're 10, is there really a difference? No, probably not. So um, I think being safe is obviously up there. You should definitely consider all that. And we've learned so much more about head injuries. The equipment has just gotten so much better from the time I started playing football, especially till now. And every year in the NFL, there's a new helmet being designed. It's tested and it's better in this way and that way. And I don't know if there's a special age. I think just like you said, like he said, he didn't want to do it at first, and then he feels like, okay, it's the time now. So let it maybe happen naturally is probably the best answer.
Yeah.
We'll see one day when I have kids. I'm not sure what I'll do, but I want them to, if they really want to do it and they understand that, it's a violent game, but they should be having fun doing it. And it's all about safety first. And whatever age that is, I definitely remember it. I feel like it's kind of weird. I feel like my memory like really started when I was 8. That's when I like started to remember everything. So like third grade for me was when I started football, and every year since third grade, it's like pretty clear to me, at least for now it is. So that
Well,
was a
that's
big
good.
that was a big year for me. Really started taking football serious, loved it, met all of my friends to this day. I actually played with a lot of them in 8th grade.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry, in third grade.
In third grade, yeah. So was there a point, like what was the point in, in when you were younger, whether it was in junior high or high school, or, that you started to recognize, your parents started to recognize, like, oh, he's really good. Like, was there like a pivotal moment where you were like, oh, I can really take this somewhere?
Um, I remember basketball being my favorite sport ever growing up. It's all I wanted to do. Tried football, loved it. Was like, okay, I'll be a football and a basketball guy. Started playing lacrosse and just like those are my 3 sports. And then I played a little bit of baseball and felt like I could always throw the ball pretty well. And then I kind of got bored with baseball. And when I got into football, like quarterback was the only thing I wanted to do. So started doing that, like I said. And then we were winning games, having fun. And then I always knew I was like pretty good, but I didn't know anything really seriously. I had a goal of maybe playing college football, maybe playing college basketball. It wasn't really so specific, but after we went undefeated my freshman year, started thinking about like camps and stuff like that and getting a quarterback coach. And before all that happened, my dad had a talk with me and he was like, I think this is kind of the time we make that decision. Like, are we going to, do you want to go for this? And that was so vivid in my mind. That was freshman year. And he was like, we can do this thing the right way. We can just go for it and go to camps and, um, really focus on football and make those other sports your off-season sports and stay in shape. But if you want to be a quarterback, like, let's take this to the next level. So that was freshman year of high school. And that's kind of when I made the commitment. He asked me, I don't remember where I was, but I definitely remember the conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And freshman year of high school.
Wow. Yeah. It's interesting because and it's so funny because Travis, I would say that basketball is his favorite sport right now. And I think it's probably his favorite sport because it's his best sport too. Like he's a good little basketball player and it's really easy for him to go outside and shoot on our hoop.
That's right.
By himself.
Very easy.
With football, he's got to wait for dad to come home and be like, Dad, we have a football catch with me, And so there's not a lot of training that he can do on his own. And then he plays lacrosse. And, you see younger and younger that kids start to have to make these decisions about just going into one sport and like specializing in one sport. And I think it's terrible.
I think it's too young. Yeah.
It's too young. It's way too young. I mean, the burnout, like, my brother in high school, wrestled, he played football and he played lacrosse. He was all state in football and lacrosse. He was an all-American wrestler. And that is extremely rare today. Like you're not going to find that, but guess what? What there wasn't when he was in high school, there was no club. There was no club lacrosse. There was no football camps. Like everything you did on the high school field. right? So you had that opportunity to kind of like diversify, and you had that opportunity too to decide like later on of what sport was going to be that sport, where today I feel like kids have to make that decision so much earlier. And it's this rat race of like, oh, am I missing out because these kids are doing this year round, at 12 years old, they're specializing in this. So
I feel like every time I talk, someone ever asks me to talk to a kid or a high school group or a team, that's probably one of my 3 points: just play as many sports as you can.
yeah,
Because high school is the best. High school is great. I mean, you miss high school when you leave high school. It's so fun, just playing sports all day with all your buddies. Um, I definitely had to sacrifice a lot and go to camps and dial in on football, but I wasn't going to miss the lacrosse season or, even basketball. And then I played lacrosse up until my senior year. So,
wow.
It can be done. It kept me in shape. It was fun. I had other friends that only played lacrosse. Worked on my agility and things I definitely wasn't doing for football. And I think it's a little scary these days. I understand, but if you're telling an eighth grader just to lock it in on one sport and do I didn't know in eighth grade that, all that stuff I'd be missing out on. And if I just lock in on one thing, I get it, but it's kind of like you see parents burn out their kids. Kind of sad.
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, my daughter just committed to play lacrosse. Well, last year committed to play lacrosse in college. And it was up until then she was playing field hockey and lacrosse. And after she committed, we're like, all right, maybe you don't play field hockey this year.
It becomes a little different once know, like, oh, I have 4 or 5 more years of this where they're paying for some of my school or all of my school.
Yeah.
You want to be safe, but when you're that young, things happen. You should take that risk and play those sports and enjoy it. There's nothing like some Friday night lights, and I miss lacrosse. I love lacrosse. I just went to the Notre Dame championship in Philly at Lincoln Financial.
So cool story about that, which that was awesome. And I actually said that if I am not rooting for Navy in college sports, I'm rooting for Notre Dame, right? Like I love Notre Dame. I'm Irish. I'm actually heading over to watch Navy play Notre Dame in the season opener in Dublin over in Ireland in a few weeks, which is going to be amazing. But I was so excited that Notre Dame, like, we were all Notre Dame fans growing up, and I was super excited that Notre Dame made it to the championship game for lacrosse. And so, they win. It was an awesome game. They deserved that win so much. I mean, it was just incredible. And I'm scrolling after the game. I'm like scrolling through Instagram, and they've got the picture that Notre Dame's Instagram puts out, not like Notre Dame lacrosse, but Notre Dame puts out a picture.
Oh yeah. So cool.
The redhead kid, and he's holding the trophy up, and I'm looking at it, and he's wearing a TMF wristband. And I'm like,
I saw that.
Holy crap, this is so awesome. And I was like, and right away, I'm like, who is this kid? He ended up he's from California. So, cause we were like, what's the connection? Is he Philly? And he ended up being from
one of the Kavanaugh brothers, right?
Yeah. And we were just like,
yeah,
this is so awesome. Like that somehow, like our organization, our mission, those 5 words, if not me, then who, like they were on the wrist of, one of those players while they're, having the biggest moment of their life. So I fell in love with Notre Dame even more. But
it makes you wonder how he got the wristband,
Well, yeah, that's what I said.
From who?
Pretty cool. I actually said after, right away, I was like, we got to get in touch with the team. I want to send them stuff. I want, and I'm like, all right, let's let it die down. Once we kick into the school year, we'll try to get a hold of the coaching staff, but, definitely want to send the whole team wristbands and
so cool.
Yeah, share more. But, okay, so going back, obviously you leave high school, you go to Notre Dame, you get recruited to play football at Notre Dame. I mean, that's incredible. I'm sure that it's just like, I know for, my daughter, she committed to Navy last year to play lacrosse. And we were like, oh my gosh, it was just the most awesome feeling as a parent to see like her dreams achieved. And I'm sure your parents had the same feelings when you got that call from Notre Dame. And so you head there and you have one heck of a career there.
Thank you. No, it was great. It was definitely a dream come true. Once I made that decision freshman year, I was all in. And I mean, the dream for me always was just get a scholarship, play college football. I had a favorite school. Like I was a Pac-12 guy being from California. I loved the West Coast. I loved UCLA. It was my team when I was growing up. My brother loved USC, so we just had a natural rivalry right there. And I was like, I want to play in the Pac-12. I want to play college ball, and then I'll see where it goes. And from that freshman year, really took things seriously and ended up getting a Notre Dame offer late after I was actually committed to Washington State for 3 months. And coaches go and they leave, and that's kind of how I got the Notre Dame offer. I had a really good connection with a coach from Boise State, and I was really considering going there. And he ended up going to Notre Dame. So ended up getting a Notre Dame offer late and ended up having to decommit. And I just knew it was right. Once I got Notre Dame, was looking it up, watched the movie Rudy, and I didn't hear much from him when he went there. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I'll get this offer. And I was like, I probably don't have time to wait. So I committed to Washington State. I was really excited to go there. I wanted to join the air raid with Coach Leach, and was really excited to live out that dream to play in the Pac-12. And then I got a call one day when I was in high school at my high school football camp. And it's kind of funny because it was this coach, and he called me and he said, hey, I'm all settled here at Notre Dame. We want you to come out here and visit. We can't explain Notre Dame to you over the phone. We need you to come out here and visit, come to a camp, whatever you got to do, just find your way out here. We want you to meet Coach Kelly, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's actually funny. I was like, Coach, appreciate it. I'm actually committed to Washington State. I'll talk to my parents or whatever, but I gave them my word. I was like, hey, I'm 100% committed to Washington State.
Yeah.
I finished the high school camp, and I talked to my parents, and I'm like, yeah, Notre Dame called today. And my parents were like, what? And what'd you say? I was like, I told them I'm committed. And they were like, call him back, please, now. Because I didn't understand kind of the full grasp of Notre Dame with the education and the history and the tradition. I didn't have any idea. I really knew the movie Rudy, and I didn't know where South Bend was. That's for dang sure. And I called him back and was like, hey, got to find my way out there. My parents want me to. And then it worked out so great. I showed up one day in the summer and walked around campus and was like, this is a different place, different ball game out here. This is as high as it can go to be a quarterback at this place. It's the highest level. It's the highest level in academics. And it doesn't get any better in terms of rich history.
Yeah.
And I decommitted 3 days later. It was a hard combo making that call when you're a young kid, especially when
you made that call yourself.
Yeah, my dad made me, but we were in the movie theater here back in Sacramento, and I texted the coach before the movie. I said, Coach, I need to talk to you. And then nothing. We're in the movie theater. I think we're with my cousins. We're watching a movie, and he calls me, hey, is now a good time to call me? I'm so nervous. I'm 16, 17 years old. And when my dad and I left the theater and got in the car, and I put him on speaker and was like, Coach, I've got a Notre Dame offer, and I'm going to decommit and commit to Notre Dame. Appreciate everything you've done for me, and blah, 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 blah. And he really appreciated it. So I'm glad I did it. Definitely didn't want to burn that bridge. And I will say to this day, I still feel like he really understood the change that I was making. Like, he was a coach. He wanted me to be there. He's competitive, but he heard me say Notre Dame, and I swear my dad and I heard him say Notre Dame. Okay. Like, he kind of
Yeah.
it was kind of cool of him. He was like, oh, wow, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And after that phone call, committed to Notre Dame and got there in the summer of 16 and stayed 5 years. Great time.
Yeah. Well, and I think when that coach called you and said, you got to come out here, I can't explain it to you over the phone. I mean, he was right, and so I'll tell you my awesome Notre Dame story. Now I wasn't there to experience it, but I guess it's my husband's awesome Notre Dame story. Well, it's not awesome for you, but I'll share the story. So Travis was killed in April of 2007. And, for the first several months, the first year, it's just, you're just kind of going through the motions, right? And we were really just trying to find anything to keep his memory alive, to remember him. Like you're grieving the first year. And, there's small little moments I can remember. I always remember saying, after Travis died, I was like, I don't think I'll ever laugh again, and somebody once said to me, like, I promise you, you will, you will one day. And, one of the things that happened that fall is, my husband's best friend said, hey, listen, Navy's playing Notre Dame, in South Bend. Let's go out and watch the game for Trav. And, so every year Navy plays Notre Dame. It doesn't really end up well for Navy kind of ever. But my husband goes out there with his best friend. They go out to watch the game. And, they went out there. It was like, we're going out for Trav. He's like, I got to do this. I'm just going to go watch Navy. I've never been out to South Bend. We want to experience it. And so they go out, and Navy beat Notre Dame in triple overtime. And my husband said it was the most incredible football game, not just like college football game, like the most incredible football game he's ever seen. And it was so awesome. And like, for us, we were like, that was Travis. Like, that's why Navy won that game, but he still talks about it. If you ask him, like, if it comes up in conversation, like best game you ever saw sports, he's like, Navy Notre Dame 2007 triple overtime, And
what month was it? Do you know?
I don't know what month it was in. Yeah, I don't remember.
I mean, but it was good weather is what I'm asking. Or was it bad
good weather? No, it was good weather.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good weather. I think it was earlier in the year. And typically they play earlier in the season. You guys when you guys, during your time there, did Navy never won?
They won my freshman year.
Oh, they did.
They beat us.
Okay.
Yep. We beat them every time after that, but they got us freshman year. We played. I didn't even travel. I was redshirting. We played them in Jacksonville, and we lost to them. But yeah. So if you played them earlier in the year, you got some good weather, probably beautiful campus, probably had an awesome time, and that's awesome. That's a really cool story because that's triple overtime is always exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And so again, like that. And if you read kind of the history of Navy playing Notre Dame, it's all about tradition. It's so cool. And so,
it's the tradition behind that game is one of the coolest things I've been a part of.
Yeah.
We always wear, a cool jersey. Notre Dame is known for one jersey, right? A blue one or two of them, a blue one and a white one. We create this really cool jersey. We have a game with them every year. So no matter what, there's always talks about joining a conference or playing this, independent, playing that. We're playing Navy every year. It's awesome. Yeah. We always sing their fight song with them after they come over to ours. We sing our fight song. It's a really cool, game and tradition. And like you said, it goes way back. I remember just with my family, when we first got to South Bend, my dad was so into learning about all the tradition with Navy and everything when it first started so long ago. There was a lot of books and magazines around South Bend that my dad was picking up.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we decided this year, with my daughter going to Navy, this is her last summer, because next summer, when you go to Navy, you're gone, like in the summer. Right. You head to school in mid-June. So we're like, this is our last summer together. And Navy's playing Notre Dame in Ireland, and we're like, all right, we're going out. We're gonna go. So I'm hoping for a 2007 type outcome here. But
that's okay. I won't blame you.
Yeah, but just to experience it in Ireland, I'm like, all right, this is definitely bucket list. So I think it's going to be good.
We were supposed to go to Ireland my last year at Notre Dame, and then COVID hit. So
yeah,
lucky them. They're going back, but pretty cool. It's a great game.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, again, I kind of referenced it, in the beginning. We connected because, got a call from some people on your team saying that, you wanted to get behind and work with a military charity that was, from the Philadelphia area. And our name came up, and you guys held an awesome happy hour for us with a bunch of your fellow Eagles players. And it was so much fun. you guys raised a lot of money for our organization, but it was just a great time. But, you could get behind any philanthropic cause. You chose a veteran service organization, and that's because you've got, some veteran lineage in your family. And, let's talk a little bit about your brother and what he's doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, first off, I was just working with my team. And I guess if you start over, my first year in the league, I'm going into year 3 here soon. First year in the league, they always tell you got a platform, you should use it. What do you want to do? And I remember talking with my agent, like, let's make this team, let's get settled, let's get an apartment, and then let's talk about what we want to do. Let's figure it out. Let's really take some time to think about it before I just pick one. Like, what really means something to you? So I was in New Orleans my rookie year and thinking about it a lot. And like the first thing that always came to my head was like, I love to help kids, and I would love to help, our veterans or anything that involves, the service. And I just grew up with a military background. Uncle and cousin were in the Marines. Dad was a Green Beret. My brother's a Green Beret. So just kind of grew up doing a lot of Army stuff. Used to have birthday parties, like Army birthday parties. I used to I was just looking not too long ago. We had an Army birthday party at the park. My dad set up all these obstacle courses. My dad was also in law enforcement. My brother and I used to compete in these like challenges that my dad would make. It was like always like Army based. We used to play airsoft and wear my dad's Army gear. We used to put on ghillie suits and go hide in the woods and play airsoft, paintball, like whatever it was. It was just kind of how I grew up. Really fun. And then I just learned more about it. It was like these guys really make a decision to go do this voluntarily. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool. That really hit me my rookie year. My brother joined the law enforcement, and then I remember him telling our family, he's like, yeah, I want to go be a Green Beret like my dad. And I was like, dang. So I started thinking about it. I was like, he's really making the choice to go do this. It's pretty cool. Not everywhere else do people have a choice, and these guys volunteer. And I was just like, wow, this is pretty special of my brother and my dad to do that. So then I was talking to my marketing lady. Her name's Alexi. She did a great job and helped out so much. And I was like, yeah, let's look in the area. And then if not, let's just look around. I want to do something to help out veterans and or anyone who's been affected by anything. I don't know what they're going through, but I have a family member currently in it, and I understand that the choice that they made. So she did some research, came back to me about you guys, and I looked it up and was like, this is perfect, literally a perfect fit, obviously with being in Philly as well. And I was like, let's do it. Let's do something. And then she hit me up like a week later with a full slide deck. She's like, we're going to do celebrity happy hour, bartending. I'm like, okay, I've never done this. I've never bartended before. I can get a few friends. And it worked out perfectly. I truly enjoyed it. There was a ton of people there. There was Notre Dame fans there. There was Eagles fans there. There were people that just walking by that stopped in. There were, fans of you guys for sure. There was a lot of people. I don't know how many people we ended up getting, but it felt like a lot. I was also under high stress trying to pour drinks I've never made.
Yeah.
So it was so cool just to do that and just to raise money for such a good cause and just help out as many people as we can. So it was a perfect fit. I'm still wearing the wristband. It's on there somewhere.
Love it. There you go. Okay.
So it worked out good. And I just want to give back as much as I can, knowing that what my brother's doing and so many other people who have been affected. Like I said, it's hard for me to wrap my brain around the fact that those people make the choice voluntarily. It's pretty damn special.
Yeah. Well, we can't thank you enough. It was an awesome night. And for us, anything we can do, anything, people can do to help bring awareness to our cause and the military community as a whole. And again, you've got a personal connection to it, but I love that, you talk about you have an opportunity to have a platform. And I think that's important. Not all of us make the choice to live a life of service, right? But in all of our different roles, we can make decisions that can help others. And you did that, and it's awesome. So thank you. And I feel like we were pretty good bartenders too.
I think we definitely got warmed up and started going.
Yeah.
Once I figured out the little whatever, the little soda gun. I was good. And there was a few people that asked for drinks I've never heard of in my whole entire life, but
Oh,
we had some help.
I had mostly easy ones. I think
Did
people,
you?
yeah, nobody was giving me anything too hard, but it was
I had a
fun.
few people show up in suits and ask for a sophisticated drink. I was like, well, I got to ask for help, but
Yeah.
it was fun. And, my friends helped me out a lot. I really appreciate them for that. And I think it was a good turnout. We
Yeah,
could do something else again. That was great.
it was great. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about the NFL. Obviously, you said, your first year you were with the Saints. And then you got picked up by the Eagles. Last year was your first year with the Eagles. Let's talk a little bit, about the Saints culture and the Eagles culture in terms of their fans. So, did you see
Yeah.
a big difference in the fan base when you got to Philly?
You hear about it and you kind of get worried, like, oh my gosh, are these people that into it? But they are.
Yeah.
I will tell you this though, I haven't had anything bad because we lost one game last year, which is very rare in the NFL. So it was like the most positive city in America. So let's hope to do that again, so I don't have to hear about what Eagles fans can be like. But it's been good. The passion is there. Just their commitment every weekend in that stadium. Everybody's saying "Go Birds!" Like everybody says "Go Birds!" No matter where you are.
I mean,
Everyone's flying their flags. It's the best.
yeah.
So you hear about, there's 32 teams, and some teams are in a tough market where there's not that many fans, and so it's really cool to be in an awesome city that cares about their sports teams, not just the Eagles. Like,
Oh, all of them. Yeah, all of
it's
them.
unbelievable. Even I mean, it was just a great. I mean, none of us finished the way we all wanted to, but we all made it really far and had support, and it was great. And I was going to the Phillies games last year, which is obviously some really big games, and just seeing everybody there, like it's a big deal. Not every city's like that, and definitely don't want to take it for granted. Saints is also another really good one. I think I've been kind of lucky being in two cities, two markets where you know football means a ton to that city. In both cities, obviously, just I think when I was in New Orleans, I really felt like how tight everybody was in the community because of Hurricane Katrina and everything that the Saints did to try to help out that city. And
Yeah.
those are it just kind of it's really sad, but it really brought everybody closer together. And I think that football team down there is it's a big deal. It's very important. So I felt the love down there as well. And then coming to Philly, it's like same thing. Just like wow, this is a big deal to a lot of people. So
Yeah. Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. You came in to a season where we loved hard because we lost one game. I
yeah,
can tell you, we have been season ticket holders since it was Veteran Stadium. So since I was little, we have had season tickets to the Eagles, and there's been some rough seasons. And as
yeah,
much as we can love a team, Eagles fans can hate the team too. And in
yeah.
those bad seasons, it's ugly. And you hear
Yeah.
the stories, and I hope you never have to see that, because I hope you guys come out just as strong as you came out last year. But I can tell you that last year was so much fun for me because my husband went to the Super Bowl when we won. He was there. He watched the Super Bowl win. And I mean, again, we beat the Patriots. It was just like, yes, it was like redemption, with everything. There was just, it was incredible. But last year there was just something like electric about the team. And
It was how easily we scored points. I've
yeah,
never seen it was unbelievable.
it just seemed effortless. Like when we won the Super Bowl, it was like we were just getting knocked down. It was like, and Carson's gone. Now we've got our backup quarterback, and how's that going to work? And it was just every step of the way, it felt like we were just fighting this uphill battle, which made the victory even sweeter. This was just like everything was. It almost felt like we couldn't lose, and you're listening to if you're listening to the local sports talk, we were all in. If you're listening to the national media, we always say everybody hates us. Right. And,
Yeah.
we don't care, right? But I was at the NFC Championship game, and along with a lot of others, but the NFC Championship game, and I was up there. I was actually with Brent Selleck, who played for the Eagles. We were sitting with him, and I had Travis with me and my husband, and watching Travis experience that win, was just everything. Like it was.
That was an electric game. I mean, obviously with them and their quarterbacks and going to their third stringer but the environment there was nuts.
It was nuts. And
Yeah.
when you guys lost the Super Bowl, little Travis, I'm not gonna lie, he cried himself to sleep that night. It was a tough blow for him. But I said, buddy, you have to understand that like you watched probably one of the greatest Eagles football games with that NFC Championship game. You were there in person, like
Yeah,
you're always
true.
going to remember that. So I was trying to hold on to that, but it was an awesome season, and you guys just had such a great team. How's the dynamic with you and Jalen?
It's great. Jalen's been great. I showed up. A lot of people don't know how it works, but I got claimed right after finishing camp with the Saints. I get claimed at 11 a.m. and I was in Philly by 7 p.m.
Wow.
I practiced with the Eagles on Saturday. Sunday was off or whatever, and then we started practicing for week 1 against the Lions. So I showed up week 1. So meeting everybody on the fly. Jalen was great. Really took me under his wing. He's a great leader. He's obviously a great football player. And it's just his commitment, his work ethic is what's so special. Like he's seriously committed and puts in a ton of work. And obviously showing up week 1, I wasn't trying to bug anyone. I still needed to learn this huge playbook, with 7 days till the first game. So I was in a little bit of a different situation that I've really never been in before. But he was great. He did all this preseason work with probably a bunch of other quarterbacks. And next thing you know, we start the season and I joined the room. So I know it's probably a little bit different for him too, but he did a good job of really focusing in this year. And we had a solid quarterback group. It was awesome. I had a really good time this year. Just with the guys every single day going to work, learning, and really just picking up steam and starting to win games. Next thing you know, we're 6-0, boom, boom, boom. It was like, holy cow, we got to take advantage of this. And we just knew how to complement each other. Our defense, our special teams, and our offense just played so well together. I've never been part of a team like that where it was like we scored at ease. And in the NFL, it's hard to score points.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone knows that, but it's hard. So just doing that, like, not effortlessly, but it sure felt like that sometimes. It was a special season. Definitely cherish that one. And then to go to the Super Bowl, my second year of my career is rare. Not many people get to go. So the goal is to go back. I think we got a good chance. We got the hardest schedule in the league this year on purpose. They did that on purpose, as they should. And
what do you guys open up against? You guys open up against San Francisco, right? Is that right?
No, I don't think it's. I got camp on my mind, not this season.
Okay.
I don't think it's. I have it on my phone. I have to look.
Sean, who do they open up against? You should know. Oh my gosh.
I have it right here on my phone. Shoot, it's not. I don't think it's the Niners. I think
Oh,
it might be I think it's the Patriots.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Don't quote me, everybody. There may be. But yeah, so it's gonna be a good season again. We got a very similar team. Made some really good additions. Obviously, lost a few key players, but every year is a new team and a new goal. And we definitely have a bad taste in our mouths. We felt like could have won that game in the Super Bowl for sure. 2 great teams, and I really feel like whoever got the ball last in that game is going to win it. And they got it last.
Yeah. Well, and I love, one of my good friends was a cameraman for the quarterback. So he was actually Mahomes' cameraman.
Nice.
And so he followed Mahomes the whole season, postseason, and so we were giving it to each other the entire season, and up until, and I'm watching. I mean, he went from the Super Bowl to he's in Disney World or Disneyland, wherever Mahomes went right after that. Like he rode the whole ride with him, and he's friends. Him and Patrick have become good friends, and he said like that it could have gone either way, right? It was
It was
just
a
like,
great game. Really,
yeah.
really good game. That's a good Super Bowl right there. It really was. And
And,
I got a lot of work.
we had Andy Reid too. And so we were
I
like,
know.
we wanted that win against Andy Reid because, he took us to the Super Bowl where Donovan McNabb was like thrown up on the field in the third quarter. And we were like, what is happening here? So, but we got our win. I'm looking at my, on the wall right here. I've got the head of the front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer, with Foles holding up the trophy, and it just says "at last." So that was the
I
front
love
page.
it. He's a legend. He's a
Yeah.
legend.
Yeah, for sure. So, one of the things outside of this season, just with the Eagles that was a big thing, was Hamlin, when he got hit and went down. And, I wonder for you as a player, because, what that does kind of like to your mental state, your psyche, when you see, because I mean, we all watched that hit. And in fact, like, we were watching that game live. My husband, my son, and I were watching that game live. Yeah. And, it was, I mean, I think collectively anybody who was watching that game was just like jaw dropped, like, oh my God. Right. And just the decisions that had to be made in that moment about what happens next. Do we play? Do we, everything. But the scariest thing for me was just watching how, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's not innocent, but how insignificant that hit was. You've seen that same hit a million times, right? That wasn't a hit that you're watching where you're like, whoa, right? And to see him go down, I mean, I've got to think on some levels, everybody who's playing the game, like you said, it's a violent sport, but everybody who's playing the game is going, holy crap.
Yeah, it was scary. I was watching it too. And I think you just play sports in general, not think your brain does a good job of just locking in on winning and doing what you got to do and having fun. And you just don't, I mean, I know from what I know, you just don't even think about it, right? And you never think it'll be you. And I think that was just kind of a moment that was just crazy. And I actually know DeMar a little bit. I tried getting him to Notre Dame. He used to DM me on Twitter, like, hey, what do you think about Notre Dame? I'm like, dude, you should come. It's great. It's great school. Let's build our class. And he ended up going to Pitt. But scary. I think it's probably really hard to play the next few plays. Yeah. Because like I said, you can't find that, whatever you want to call it, flow state or whatever it is that gets you locked in. It's probably, it was hard. It was so hard to watch. And I'm glad he's doing well and back out there, but you just never think it's going to be you. And you're definitely not ever thinking about it. And I think it kind of put life into perspective that it's a violent game and we play it because we love it and we have fun doing it. But we're human. Things happen. It's violent.
Well,
but hopefully never see that again. And
I know,
like I said, our gear's getting better. We're working on everything to make this game safer. But it's getting really, really scary. And I'm glad he's doing well. Yeah.
One of the things that that the military and football has in common is just this, some of the things that happens with, bad hits, traumatic brain injuries, that are, concussions. These are things that our service members, when they're, fighting overseas, they're experiencing these things, in a different way, but they're getting concussions, multiple TBIs, and, which leads to a lot. And you see a lot of really identifying some of the mental health challenges that surround our military, our service members, and concurrently with football players too, sustaining those types of hits on a regular basis, like, they're not good for your head. Right. And so, what do you think? How do you think the NFL, like you said, they're making advancements in gear, but do you think the NFL does a good job of kind of addressing some of these things that may be outside of like preventative, like for the guys that are, do you think there's like an open space for you to say, hey, like, I'm having some mental health challenges. I know it's something, you know, we work really hard in the military to be able to make it like
Okay,
stigma
and like
free. Yeah.
appropriate.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
To say, hey, I'm not in a good headspace. Do you feel that way in the NFL? Is there any emphasis put on that?
I would say that's a hard question. I would say they like like we both said, they're doing good on the gear, they're doing good on the rules, they're doing what they can. Um, but like you said, at the end of the day, it's hard. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but we know it's hard to put it this way. I would say we definitely know uh, what is healthy for us and what is not, and we can make that decision. Actually, voicing it is another definitely another question.
Yeah.
I would say you don't want to. I don't know what the stigma is. You don't want to sound like a wimp. You don't want anyone to know that you're going to talk to the team, um, the team mental health coach. But they're available. They're there, and I would give the NFL credit and the teams credit for putting them there. And if you can put your pride to the side and go get some help, it's there. So
Well, that's good to know,
there's just
right?
it's great. It's great to know. And you know, I would say like talking about concussions is like seems to be, kind of at that point where it's still like a joke, even though it's like you might be. And like guys talk about it all the time, like my head hurts or whatever it is.
Right. I
Like,
just got my bell rung, right? And it's just
yeah, I'm going to practice again. I'm gonna go knock my, go see stars and knock heads with it. It's like this weird like joke. But I think at the end of the day, when you put the jokes aside, like guys understand, and the guys that I'm friends with and close with, they know. Like when it's, when you're not feeling good, and you know when you should say something. And I think the NFL and the teams have done a good job of putting a lot of these pieces in place for us to go get help. We want to keep playing this game as long as we can. We know it's a violent game. We need the help and assistance. It's there. There's yeah. I mean, every team I've been on, there's people to go talk to for anything you need to mentally. There's, like we said, there's a lot of things that you can do to get help. And the gear's getting better, the rules are getting better. So it's kind of up to you. You're an adult. You need to go do it. And like I said, I think you got to put your pride to the side sometimes.
yeah. All right. Little rapid fire. Um, what is if you can look back in your entire career, NFL, college, high school, all the way back to third grade, can you pinpoint your favorite game that you ever played?
Yes. There's two, but I'll give you one.
Okay.
There's actually my favorite game ever was the third overtime win against Clemson. We beat the number one team in the country. COVID year, my last year at Notre Dame, half the fans are full because of COVID. It was kind of weird. Like we knew we were going to allow people in, but not many. We knew if we won, people were going to storm the field, but they shouldn't. It was so weird. Like we even had uh, like a team meeting, and it was like, "Don't storm the field. There's too many people with COVID if we win." Or they're like, "When we win."
Yeah.
So we got the number one team in the country in South Bend, and we beat them in three overtimes. It was a crazy game, and everybody stormed the field. It was
Of
nuts.
course. Of course.
So it was like
There is
COVID didn't exist for
there's no
like
COVID when you storm the field, when you
that's
when you
right.
win in triple overtime. Okay.
And,
So,
and
okay,
yeah,
that's
that was a
one of
good
your
one.
best games. Worst game you ever had.
Um,
Worst moment or anything like that.
yeah, that's a great question. We had a game. We went up to Michigan. We got big rivalry with them. Went up to the big house, played in an absolute monsoon, and just didn't play well. And just got killed. They killed us, and we didn't even put up a good fight. And it was just a dark, wet, terrible game at my first time playing at Michigan. There's like 100,000 people there, and we just nothing went our way. It was just one of those games. It is what it is. But just to do that to somebody that we have a pretty cool rivalry with, sucked. So that one was cold and wet and just not good.
Yeah. All right. What is your favorite thing about Philly?
My favorite thing about Philly, I would say for me, this might be lame for other people, but like being from the West Coast, people don't understand how different the East Coast is compared to the West Coast.
Yeah.
And I mean, they might if they've gone to both, but like I've never lived in a city like that. I've never been to the East. I don't. If you quiz me on the East Coast state, it's gonna be tough. Like I'm not great at it. Like I am a West Coast person, and I went to Philly and like just totally got like ingrained in the culture there and loved it and live in the heart of the city and walk around everywhere and super into all sports and got me watching baseball games. I'm not even a huge baseball fan. The food is amazing in Philly. I'm eating Italian food, just like loving it. And just, I would say, like, just living in the city and getting ingrained in that culture. And I just became like the biggest restaurant food critic of all time. I just stop every place and just get Italian food and try different stuff. And it's been my favorite part,
I
other
love
than the sports.
So, where is your favorite cheesesteak shop in the city?
Ooh, I like Angelo's. Have you been there?
Yeah, of
Okay.
course. Of course.
I like that spot. I could probably take recommendations and try more. I know like everyone, I think when they get there, they do like the classic Pat and Geno's.
That's a tourist trap.
That's what I thought. So I like Angelo's because I love their pizza too, but I thought they had a really good cheesesteak. So
Yeah. Okay. They are known for their
is that
pizza.
a fair
That's fair.
Philly
Yeah.
answer?
I mean, listen, I think Dave Portnoy, they scored real high on their pizza when he came
Pizza was great,
when
but
he
I actually
did.
like their cheesesteak too. And I brought some of my buddies from college there, and they are obsessed with Angelo's cheesesteaks. So if I have family in town, I take them there because they have the option to get like really good pizza or a cheesesteak. That's
I
kind of
mean, you
my.
sound like a local if you're picking Angelo's to go get it. You know, you've got to pick the places that aren't the Pat. If you said Pat's and Geno's, I would have had to talk with you once we went off air to be like, hey, don't
Do
ever.
you have? Is there another? What am I missing? Is there like another one? What's like
Um,
if you are like a Philly local? There's got to be like probably a hole in the wall that just nobody knows about, or is it Angelo's?
no, yeah, I mean, Sean saying John's roast pork. That's a good spot. Um, I like, and it's a little bit more of a, I don't want to say it's a tour trap, but more well known. Like I like Steve's Prince of Steaks. I don't know.
Where's that at?
That's
Is that
right off of, gosh, it's right around the corner from the Union League. I'm trying to think of right off of Broad. I think
okay?
that's actually it's right off of Market. That's Market Street right there, I think. Steve's Prince of Steaks, but we had them come. They did for the 15th anniversary after we lost Travis last year. They came and put a food truck in my driveway, and
That's awesome.
they were slinging cheesesteaks all night. So
That's awesome.
yeah. All right. So final question that I ask everyone as we head out on this episode is, what does living a resilient life look like for you? When you think about resilience, what does that look like for you?
It's a great question. I think to me, I think it means taking life in stride. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. It's about always moving forward. And I think it's about just always moving forward, having a plan and just taking everything in stride. Life's going to be hard sometimes. It's going to be great sometimes. And, that's what we're down here doing is living. So just keeping that up. And I think that's what I would say.
Yeah. Taking it in stride. I like that. It's what
Yeah,
you got to do, right? It's not always going to be
that's right.
perfect. Forgot
For
to
sure.
mention that you kind of had a high point in your life. I saw on your social media, you just got engaged.
Oh
So
yeah. 2 weeks ago.
congratulations on that. That's
Thank
exciting.
you.
Yeah. If you're still, you're gonna have to take some good engagement photos right in front of City Hall. Get
We did
stand.
them in Lake Tahoe, California, but
Well, you got to do some
we'll
Philly
do.
ones. You come, you take them right on Broad Street. Get the photographer. They stand right
I've
on
seen
Broad.
those.
That's a
I've
classic
seen
shot.
those.
You got to get that shot. So
Every time I'm driving, I see those. Yeah, maybe I'm next. You're right. Maybe I'll do that.
there you go. There you go. Ian, thanks so much for joining us here. This was awesome. I'm looking forward to doing more with you, with TMF. I think our next celebrity bartending should be the weekend after the parade, after you guys win the Super Bowl. How's that?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think it'd be a packed house. It'd be fun.
There you go. Ian, thanks so much. Really appreciate you joining us.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.